Just as I set my backpack down on the floor, my heart was still pounding hard. The smell of gunpowder hung in the air, and the sound of wild hogs charging seemed to echo somewhere nearby. Here, in the southern United States, feral hogs have become a true nightmare. They tear through cornfields, rip up sweet potato farms, dig around the foundations of homes, and have even caused hundreds of traffic accidents. That is why today's hunt was not just an adventure. It was a mission. Everything happened so fast, from the moment that beast charged straight at me to the final shot echoing deep in the woods. Now, as I sit down and replay the footage, my hands are still a little shaky. Curious? Come with me and relive the heart-pounding moments from today's wild hog hunt. Early this morning, after loading our ammo, double-checking our rifles, and syncing up the GPS gear, we left the staging point in our hunting rig. From there, we moved in silence, making our way on foot into the old-growth forest where wild hogs are known to roam. Every sense was on high alert. We were locked in, waiting for that one moment when the prey would finally show itself. Not even 5 minutes in, the low brush ahead of us started to shake violently. Something was hiding in there. Suddenly, a black head popped up. A massive hog was charging straight at me. The distance closed fast. Just 2 meters out, I pulled the trigger. The gunshot tore through the still air, but the beast roared and kept coming. Right as it was about to leap, I fired again. The bullet struck dead center between the eyes. It froze mid-charge and crashed to the ground so hard the earth seemed to tremble. Right after that opening shot, just seconds later, the ground began to tremble. A massive herd of wild hogs came crashing through right in front of us. I locked in immediately. My rifle was ready, finger steady on the trigger. I lined up the sights on the hog running at the center of the pack. One shot rang out. The target froze for a split second, then collapsed hard. The rest of the herd scattered in panic and disappeared into the dry brush ahead. Immediately, the whole team spread out and gave chase. To my right, a teammate was running in the same direction. His eyes narrowed as he spotted a lone hog breaking away from the herd, trying to disappear into the thick brush. Without hesitation, he raised his rifle, pressed his cheek to the stock, and squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot echoed through the woods. The hog slid forward, then collapsed in a tangled patch of grass. Within seconds, it was completely still. After carefully sweeping through every patch of brush and gathering the hard-earned trophies, the team decided it was time to leave the forest. As we stepped out from the tree line, a wide-open plain stretched out before us. Out here, the view was much clearer, but that also meant the prey could spot us from a greater distance. I adjusted the rifle sling on my shoulder and scanned the horizon through my scope. Our dogs were released to scout ahead, setting the stage for a whole new kind of pursuit, one that would be nothing like the close-quarters chase inside the forest. Just as we stepped down, a sudden rustling erupted violently from the nearby brush, forcing us to back off and assess the situation. 3 dark figures shot out like arrows, kicking up dust and dirt as they charged forward. I turned instinctively, swung my rifle in line with their movement, and pulled the trigger. Sharp cracks rang out in rapid succession. One hog dropped on the spot. The other two bolted in panic, vanishing without even looking back. From our ambush spot nearby, my teammate James locked his eyes firmly on one of the two hogs racing like bullets. Waiting for it to enter his sights fully, James squeezed the trigger. The gunshot thundered through the air, and the hog sprang up sharply before collapsing to the ground. It struggled for a few seconds, then went completely still. Just when we thought the hunt was over, we strolled down the trail, chatting about the shots fired moments ago. Suddenly, the hound's sharp barks echoed ahead like a warning. "Game on," I whispered. In the next instant, 4 or 5 wild hogs burst through the brush like a storm. I immediately raised my rifle, locked onto my target. Bang! The prey dropped right there, its body rolling hard on the ground. The echo of that final shot was a clear sign that today's hunt had come to a close, a complete victory for the sharpshooters. Peace was restored to this land once again. Every moment, every sudden encounter in the dense forest, and every heart-pounding chase across the open plains remain fresh in my memory, as if it just happened. Today's hunt was more than just feeding a passion. It was also a vital effort to curb the destruction caused by wild hogs to the crops and the lives of local people. All activities were carried out in strict compliance with the hunting laws of this area. If you want to join me on more thrilling journeys like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming hunts.
Hello everyone, I'm Liam. Today, I had an incredibly special experience. My very first wild boar hunt, alongside Uncle Jack, a highly respected and seasoned hunter in our region. Since I was a kid, I've heard him tell spine-chilling stories about face-to-face encounters with massive wild boars. But it wasn't until today that I got to witness that wild world with my own eyes. Let's dive right into the hunt. I followed Uncle Jack into the forest quite early. Our hunting blind was cleverly built and well camouflaged. We sat quietly inside, eyes fixed on every slightest movement. Just a few minutes later, a herd of jet black wild boars came charging past us. I held my breath. Uncle Jack swiftly aimed his rifle and fired a rapid burst of shots. The gunfire echoed through the entire forest, but the boars, incredibly quick and agile, dashed off like lightning and managed to escape. First failed attempt, we decided to go deeper into the woods. While scanning the surroundings, suddenly a wild boar came charging down, making me jump in surprise. But Uncle Jack remained calm. He raised his gun, aimed within a split second, and pulled the trigger decisively. The bullet struck the animal, knocking it off balance. It tumbled across the leaf-covered ground. A A bit farther in, I noticed Uncle Jack suddenly stop. His eyes were locked forward, as if he had sensed something wrong. Sure enough, moments later, a wild boar emerged. Uncle Jack, ever prepared, took only a few seconds to aim and fire. The mid-sized boar collapsed instantly, unable to react in time. Every move he made carried confidence, a reflection of years of experience. About half an hour later, we tracked the boars up a hill. Suddenly, a whole herd came rushing down, seemingly ready to charge at us. Thankfully, Uncle Jack reacted swiftly and took them down immediately. That moment left me in absolute awe. That afternoon, I continued to follow Uncle Jack and the village's hunting team back into the forest. The familiar hunting dogs were released and quickly got to work. I stayed close to Uncle Jack, picking up pace when we heard the dogs barking intensely, a sure sign something important was up. Oh my gosh, he just shot a wild boar, and I hadn't even spotted it yet. After the first shot, the boar veered off course. Uncle Jack received the signal and immediately began to support the other team members. He quickly took position with his trusted rifle. The moment a boar charged out, he fired a shot, so precise it was hard to believe. The boar dropped within seconds. The team wrapped up the day's hunt with a completely unexpected turn of events. He had taken down 2 wild boars within minutes. Unbelievable. It all happened so fast. It felt like a scene straight out of an action movie. That brings our hunt to a close. What did you think of today's adventure? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts.
sound of gunfire and barking dogs echoed through the forest, signaling that the hunt was in full swing. Our hunt took place in a forest in southwestern Germany with dense vegetation that is ideal for wild boar to live. The hunting trips are not for recreational purposes. We just want to destroy and control the wild boar population because they are developing into a scary invasive species. In Germany, being a hunter is not just about taking a gun into the woods and shooting. We have to undergo at least a year of training, learning about the law, ecology, animal ethics, and even animal anatomy. Only after passing the exam and getting a hunting license can I officially enter the world of German hunters. Every time we go into the forest, we have to be alert. One wrong step, one strange noise, and the pigs can run away, or worse, they can counterattack. Early in the morning, we were in the forest, lying in ambush at the high huts that had been built for better observation. It didn't take long before we heard the sound of hurried footsteps, and then the shaggy black figures appeared. My comrades and I quickly loaded our guns. A series of gunshots tore through the quiet atmosphere. Some of the big pigs fell, others ran away in all directions. After the shot, my heart was still pounding. Even though the morning was still chilly, I felt my body heating up. Perhaps it was due to the excitement mixed with nervousness. European wild boars are not like in picture books or fairy tales. They are not slow or stupid. On the contrary, they are intelligent, highly organized, and extremely dangerous when cornered. That is why we always keep a safe distance to hunt them. Through the tree trunks and dry leaves, I saw a wild boar appear. It was looking around warily. I slowly raised the gun, keeping my breathing steady. Even the slightest noise would ruin the whole ambush. I held my breath and pulled the trigger. The wild boar couldn't escape. Another wild boar appeared, but it seemed to have sensed the danger and ran away, not giving it a chance to escape. I killed it with a fatal shot to its chest. There are many wild boars living in this forest. They have strong reproductive ability and high survival rate. Therefore, each hunting trip, we can kill dozens to hundreds of wild boars. Well, another wild boar appeared on the mountainside. I raised my gun. The moment I pulled the trigger, all sound seemed to stop. The boar was hit, staggered, and collapsed. Because it was a steep slope, it rolled several times and fell down the mountainside. That it seems that on this hunting trip, we entered the lair of wild boars. They kept appearing and were also continuously destroyed. Every time I kill a wild boar, I don't feel happy. But for the sake of protecting the environment and ecosystem, we need to do it for a long time. As the afternoon wore on, we gathered in a grassy area and counted the boars. The boars lay there, huge, fierce, and powerful. We don't waste wild boar meat. After processing, the wild boar meat is marinated and dried in the traditional way. The taste is rich, wild, and full of the flavor of the forest. But for me, the greatest reward is the lesson of survival and teamwork.
It all started with a surprise call from my best friend inviting me to join a wild boar hunt in Tajikistan. From the faraway state of Texas in the United States, the long flight took me to an unprecedented journey. Everything was new, from the climate, the terrain to the way the boars moved through the mountains and forests. Come join me on my first hunt in this challenging and surprising land. From a height of 400 m, our binoculars captured a large herd of nearly 10 wild boars. We decided to move down, keeping a distance of 150 m from the pigs for easier access and better shooting range. Once in position, I quickly adjusted the scope and targeted the target. With just one pull of the trigger, the pig immediately fell backwards and stopped moving immediately. Oh, I didn't think it was that big. It was a hopeful start when I set foot in Tajikistan. Very soon, another herd of pigs was found to the surprise of the whole team. Quickly getting into position, I crouched down, looking through the scope to mark the target. A sharp gunshot rang out, causing the prey to immediately tumble and roll down. The remaining group quickly ran away in extreme fear. Perfect. We couldn't believe how quickly and smoothly everything happened. The whole team decided to change tactics, dividing up to stand at different points to cover a wider area. Standing there observing, my eyes fell upon a herd of wild boars. Without hesitation, I hurriedly ran forward to get a better look. The explosion made the pigs panic and run away. I aimed my gun at a stray wild boar and fired repeatedly. However, the pigs were too fast. They quickly dispersed and escaped. For missing the previous opportunity, I started walking around looking for other targets. 10 minutes passed like that, until a wild boar suddenly charged up from the foot of the mountain. The hunter's instincts immediately arose. I quickly raised my gun and delivered a fatal blow. Immediately, the pig collapsed and rolled down the ravine. The clash happened unexpectedly, but luckily I kept my cool and focused enough to bring back the next result. afternoon, we moved on to another mountain, hoping to find more opportunities. We didn't have to wait long before the herd of pigs revealed themselves and were quickly discovered. The whole herd was rushing down the mountain. I know time is running out. If I don't act quickly, the opportunity will be gone. Immediately after the gunshot, the whole group started to turn in other directions. Each of them ran away in fear. We didn't give up, immediately reloaded and fired continuously. Luckily, before they completely disappeared, I took down one. Just when everything seemed under control, suddenly from the bushes, another pig rushed out, taking us completely by surprise. The group had no time to react, hastily retreated, quickly finding a defensive position to prepare to deal with it. In that tense moment, a gunshot rang out, decisive and accurate, taking down the pig before it could reach us. The sudden appearance of the wild boar just now startled the whole group a bit, but after a moment, we regained our composure and continued moving forward. The small binoculars came into play again. A few pigs emerged from the bushes. We lay prone on the ground, slowly adjusting our aim. Focus to the max, lock on the target and pull the trigger. A shot from behind causes a boar to collapse in an instant. A perfect shot ends a dramatic hunting trip. The hunting trip ends here. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.